What's up everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys the 4 best tattoo needles that any beginner tattoo artist should have on their arsenal. Here we go. Alright, let's start off first by identifying the different kinds of needles, alright? So we have the liner needles, which are the round liners. We have round shaders, which are kind of like liners, but they're more like spread out and flared like this. But yeah, they come to a point as well. And we have the magnums. Now magnums, there are 2 kinds that I'm aware of. The flat magnum and the curved magnum. And you have like specialized needles that are coming out right now for like dot work stuff. Like 3x3 needles, those are pretty cool. But yeah, that's for later on. So we're gonna basically tackle the 4 basic ones, alright? Round liner, round shader, flat magnum, and curved magnum or round magnum. Alright, so first up, you need to get yourself a 5RL. Why a 5RL and not a 3RL? Here's why, alright? 5RLs are thicker than 3RLs, common sense, because there are 2 more needles in the 5RL. And when you're a beginner, you're gonna be lifting the machine a lot, alright? It doesn't matter if you're constantly thinking, don't lift, don't lift, don't lift. There's gonna be a part of that line that you're gonna be doing, especially if it's long, that you're gonna lift. And you can't, it's unavoidable, alright? You're a beginner, it's gonna happen. So the best thing you can do is go over that line again, but do it slowly and make sure you're still following the same line path. Now the 5RL is a more forgiving needle than the 3RL because the line that it creates is a little bit thicker than the 3RL. And that is going to be your primary liner needle for a long time. Why? Because you're going to be doing a lot of these Pinterest looking tattoos, these Roman numerals, the butterflies, the infinity signs. You're going to be doing a lot of that stuff for a really long time. And you're going to get sick of it, but you got to do it because you got to practice your lining. And the 5RL is going to be your best friend for that. Now, let's talk about another liner which you should have, and I'm gonna talk about the 3RL. Yeah, I just talked about it a while ago. Yeah, it's hard to use and stuff like that. But yeah, you're gonna need to learn how to use it as well because you're gonna need that 3RL for a lot of things in the future. Now, what things are you gonna need it for? Well, fine line black and gray stuff, or geometric lines. You'll even use it in neo-traditional stuff because you need to play with line weights, right? And the 3RL is a needle that is used by everything. Like every style uses the 3RL. And as a professional or intermediate tattoo artist, in the future, you're gonna see that, oh damn, the 3RL is the most important needle among all the needles out there. Alright? Get yourself a 3RL, start practicing a little bit. Use it for maybe some inner lines if you're gonna do neo-trad stuff. You could use it for your Pinterest tattoos, but only use the 3RL once you're comfortable with the 5RL. Next up, let's talk about the round shader. Now, the round shader has many uses, guys. It is not just a shader used for like color packing or shading. You can use it for lining, alright? What am I talking about? Well, we talked about neo-trad stuff, right? Alright, so to create a thicker, bolder line, because neo-trad, American trad, even some Japanese designs have bold outlines, right? And the way to get that without using a bigger liner, you could just use a big liner like an 11RL, but you could just use a round shader, and that way you don't need to invest in so many liner needles. Just get a 7RS, and you can use that to create bold lines for your outlines of your neo-trad, American trad, or whatever style you're going to be doing. It can be a power lining needle. You can also use the 7RS, of course, for shading using circular motion, for color packing, stuff like that. You can practice some whip shading using the 7RS as well. And you know, when you want to shade those tight corners on your tattoo pieces or something, and a magnum is just too difficult for you because you're a beginner, yeah, just use the 7RS. It's a multifunctional needle for lining and shading. It's one of my favorites. It's probably my, I don't know, my top one or two most used needles in my tattoo studio. And yeah, I enjoy using the 7RS, and you should get yourself, I don't know, like several boxes of it because you're going to be using it a lot. Alright, now let's talk about flat mags and curved mags. Alright, before I give you the specific magnum to get, let's just give a brief view about the flat mag and the curved mag. Alright, so the curved mag, basically, the curved mag has needles closer to each other, and they do not leave, you know, those like grainy effects when you do like a whip shade and it creates like little grains. Basically, the needles are closer together, and when you shade with it, especially when you use a pendulum motion or a whip motion, it creates a smoother looking gradient. Now, do you want this for like realism, for black and gray? If you want like a soft finish, if you want like soft blends in your color pieces, you're gonna need the round magnum or curved magnum. The flat magnum is very good for color packing, like, you know, when you fill stuff in, because the needles are more spread apart and you can cover a bigger area and pack it. The problem with the flat mags though, it's not really a problem, it's more like an effect that you could want for your design. If you blend it, sometimes it's not as soft, it's a little bit rougher, but that's really nice, especially when you do like traditional style tattoos. But if you want a soft finish, you use the round mag or the curved mag. Flat mag for packing stuff, alright? So, which magnum should you get? Well, as a beginner, like I said, you're not going to be doing massive pieces. Although you already have a 7RS for shading, which is a smaller needle group, you should get a 9 Magnum. A 9 Magnum is perfect. You can do a lot of tattoos with that. Many different finishes in creating those effects with the whips and the blends and the pendulums, whatever. You can do a lot of that with the 9 Magnum. And it's perfect because it is not too big that it's difficult to handle. And yeah, it's basically gonna be your training needle for magnums. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative for you. And yeah, if you liked it, do leave a like on the video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you're notified, and I'll see you all on the next video. Later.